After being betrayed by his former apprentice, Darth Iphonius somehow returned in his 16th clone and is already preparing his 17th evil plan. Order 67 was executed. Darth Pixelo.
Excuse me. Let me do this.
Alright.
Darth Pixelus became one and only emperor and established his new galactic android empire. He rules it from the shadows inside his new weapon, Google Death Star. Count Oppo was defeated by Vivo Skywalker. The darkness was let in his heart, and thus new hero was born, Darth Ultrus. His name brought a fear among the last remaining rebellious formations. Honor Alliance was almost broken and fought in the underground, seeking a way to end this galactic tyranny. Grandmaster Pura had a vision. He knows that there is always a way, a glimpse of light, on the distant sand planet where Vivo Skywalker was born, and this light could be their last hope. New generations must always be better than previous ones. Otherwise, there will be no progress, no development, no new experience, stagnation, slow decay. Can new Vivo x200 Pro bring the same revolution that old X100 Pro did, surpassing X90 Pro Plus in almost every way? It inherited the best telephoto lens on the market, largest 200 megapixels HP9, and brought lots of new innovations. For the last 10 years, technology market and smartphone market in general was slowly stagnating, bringing almost zero innovations, and even degrading and going backwards. We lost micro SD expansion, we lost audio jack with good amplifiers, charging speeds ain't going anywhere. I bought iPhone 13 Pro to test Apple ecosystem, only when iPhone 15 was announced, and we are already seeing rumors for iPhone 17, while getting nothing new from the 16 lineup. Clone after the clone after the clone. And in the process of all this, prices are increasing. But on the contrary of all, that our expectations for progress went up each year. And what companies and corporations consider and call today as, quote, flagship, is not the same as what we see it to be. We get less quality progress for a lot more money. And our expectation and standards do not meet greedy marketing materials and misleading advertisement. In the era of flying hoverboards and cars, we get paid subscriptions for car seat heaters, headlights, paid subscriptions for ink on the printers, and other shady practices. But this episode is not about that. Vivo x200 Pro. Let's talk about what is really meaningful upgrades. And I want to ask die-hard Vivo fans to just accept this with easy heart. I'm not here to insult anyone just because of their smartphone choice, but I just tell everyone what I see after using these devices. It is a very nice phone, one of the best among there, but it should be said and done. We won't talk about new processor too much, because with each year we must see new advancement in this category. Moore's law is not dead, like some green corporations trying to convince us. With new processor comes new benchmark numbers, new efficiency for battery, everything how it should be. Bright screen. We can see noticeable improvements. Screen is a lot brighter overall, and on the bright sun. We have OLED flickering reduction settings in the eye care tab to preserve our vision. Very nice. Better 6000 mAh battery in slim body. That is noticeable upgrade. Couple of hours of use can give us somewhere around 10% of difference. Where Ultra will need a charge, X200 Pro can still serve you. Charging speeds, I would say, nothing impressive. but a solid, standard performance that I expect from even low-end budget offering in 2025. 90-watt charging, this is minimum that I expect from a smartphone. And to tell the truth, it is boring to test a charging speed if anything is slower than Oppo Find X7 Ultra, that was able to fool itself in less than 27 minutes. It will be on the same level as previous models. Expect roughly 50 minutes of charging. It gets some new features in terms of Origin OS 5, such as Origin Island, Magic Capsule analogy, as well as some downgrades. For example, camera app. New night video and logarithmic curve is very nice, but new landscape mode that can potentially bring new angles of photography, but at the same time take away an agency from you. There is no night mode button, no supermoon, no astrophotography. All this is baked into this new scene detection, so phone decides for you what is good and what it should use. Rather than giving you options and manual controls of your device, I am not a big fan of it. And all the innovations stop here. Let's talk about camera hardware. If we compare it to the Ultra model and even X100 Pro in some way, I can see downgrades in all camera lenses, all four. Selfie camera has no autofocus and restricts use case scenarios. Ultrawide lens has less field of view, 15mm instead of 14, which is huge on this wide end and has noticeable barrel distortion. There is no 1-inch sensor on main camera. We lost 30% of sensor size. That led to worse photography experience, especially in portraits, and this heavily increased the noise on the video, even at base ISO levels. And even new HP9 200 megapixels telephoto sensor has some downgrades. When on the paper it looks identical, we can see difference in the lens construction. We cannot focus at the same close focus distance. The phone must be roughly 5 cm away from your subject, so macro photography gets affected. To get similar field of view, we need to crop in more, potentially degrading the image and getting less. So, on the camera hardware side, I see no improvements. Complete downgrade if we are talking about Ultra, and equal at best if we are talking about previous X100 Pro. The only improvements that you can really feel will be software, and I can only hope that we won't see software gatekeeping. Even after multiple firmware updates, I don't see HDR mode in the humanistic street photography. That makes this mode completely unusable for me. Speakers and sound. And here, once again, I'm not a big fan of the speakers that Vivo puts in their models that is lower tier than Ultra. Sound feels more shallow, without extra clarity, muffled in the middle. It is not the cheapest sound in the galaxy, but average at best, below mid-tier. Even Apple, the company that puts 60Hz screens in 2025 and slowest USB and Wi-Fi speeds possible, do not chip on the sound. Right now, the best sounding speakers in the smartphone are inside Honor Magic 6 Ultimate Edition. 5 stars. It is hard to wish for more inside this form factor, but no words can explain this, and not even good microphones. But anyway, take a listen for yourself. And daylight photo video tests. Let's see what went wrong, where are downgrades, and who is the best. Alright my friends, let's start this photo compression. I will try my best to compress it as much as possible. Let's quickly talk about colors, color profiles of all the smartphones, and I will quickly show you the main differences and downgrades. Vivo x100 Ultra versus x200 Pro. Some people claim that there is no difference between these two sensors, but I will show you that not everything is just that simple. Here we have x100 Ultra, on the left we have vivid color profile, in the middle textured, and on the right Zeiss natural. Vivid will give you very bright, saturated and contrasty look. Textured will give you toned down, very moody and dark image. Zeiss natural will be toned down in terms of colors, and will have slightly less contrast. To tell the truth, my favorite one is vivid, and I find textured colors to be very nice. Vivo is the only smartphone that allows you to control contrast, sharpness, saturation, brightness on your just basic photo tab, so you can have HDR, you can have all the computation, but give the image the look that you want. Here we have everything by default, I tweaked nothing, and you can expect the similar performance on your smartphone. Also please pay attention to the textures on this head. You can see well-defined textures, these stitches, all the lines are very natural and very defined. On the lips, we can see veins inside the eye, small hairs, eyelashes, eyebrows. All looks very natural. The same as texture of the skin. We can see these pores, all the dots, glossiness in some areas. And now let's compare it against X200 Pro. So now Vivo X200 Pro, everything is the same, vivid, textured and Zeiss natural. We can see the same trend. I touched nothing. All sliders are set to 0, sharpness, contrast, saturation. Everything looks plus minus the same. But even without zooming in, I already see huge difference. Maybe on small smartphone screen you won't be able to see the difference this easy, but I will show you by zooming in. Without zooming in, I can see that image looks slightly more artificial, more smartphone-y, because X200 Pro does not use 1-inch sensor. So please pay attention to this head. Image is not so well defined. We see some smearing, smudginess. Texture is not so well defined. Even these stitches look very distorted. And especially the face. I can no longer see these very nice natural details of the skin. Nothing on the lips. No small veins inside eyes. No eyelashes. Eyebrows look very artificial, like drawn by AI. And if you look at this zip tie, we lost all these small details. It looks like water painting. So this is one of the largest differences between X100 Ultra and X200 Pro. Image on well-defined textures such as skin, portraits, won't be the same. This is a huge downgrade. But if we are talking about colors, these color profiles look very identical. We have very bright, vivid, very dark and moody, but still natural texture, and this natural, low contrast, not very saturated. So now Huawei Pura 70 Ultra, on the left we have original color profile, in the middle we have vivid, and on the right, bright. If we compare it to the Vivo, I will say that original looks very similar to the Zeiss Natural, vivid looks more like textured on the Vivo, and bright on Huawei looks similar to the vivid color profile on Vivo. I really don't like this original. Colors are way off, low contrast look, and something is very wrong with white balance. I like these two more, with vivid being my favorite. A very contrasty, very moody look. So if we zoom in, image is slightly more aggressive than on Vivo X100 Ultra, but results are better than on X200 Pro. More well-defined textures of this fabric, stitches, I can see some eyelashes, textures on the lips, and zip tie is on its place. Nothing is distorted, everything is more or less natural. And now Honor Magic 6 Ultimate Edition. It has the same color profiles as on Huawei, but everything is called a little bit different, and I see that image is slightly more processed. On the left, it's called natural, in the middle, it is called vibrant, and on the left, authentic. So looks like vibrant is vivid on Vivo, natural is like Zeiss Natural, and authentic is like textured. So Honor has slightly smaller sensor size, but it uses very magical computation that sometimes can work and sometimes can give us very weird results, to say it kindly. So everything is not so natural, we have very aggressive computation, but maybe I prefer it over X200 Pro. Let's quickly once again see the difference of all color profiles of all these smartphones, and then we will compare them against each other. This is X100 Ultra, a vivid color profile, very bright, very saturated and contrasty, but still very natural. Enough details. Now this is textured, image became more contrasty. And now Zeiss Natural, low contrast key, toned down colors. Now X200 Pro, a vivid color profile, everything is very bright. Can you spot any difference right now? Now this is textured color profile. To tell the truth, I started to like it more and more. With combination of tweaking these sliders, sharpness, contrast, saturation, we can get a very unique look. And Zeiss Natural. Everything became less contrasty, less saturated. So this is main difference of the Vivo smartphones. Let's see Huawei and Honor, because it is the same company. Huawei Pura 70 Ultra, original color profile. As you can see, white balance is not consistent at all. It is my least favorite color profile on Huawei phones. Now it is a vivid color profile, and I kinda like it more. Very contrasty, very moody, maybe a little bit too dark, but still I like it. And the third color profile that is called bright. As you can see, it does exactly what it says, image became bright. And finally Honor Magic 6 Ultimate Edition. First color profile is called natural. I have noticed that Honor uses more processing on all the color profiles, lots of contrast levels, lots of colors. Next one is called vibrant. and we can see more saturation levels. Pay attention to white balance. For some it can be very important. And the last one is called authentic. So, my friends, please tell me in the comments what is your favorite color profiles on these smartphones, and now let's compare them together. Let's start from the ultrawide lens. I'm using textured on Vivo, vivid on Huawei, and authentic on Honor. As you can see, we are using 15mm on X200 Pro. It has less field of view, which is a big downgrade. Also, it has very noticeable barrel distortion. I turned the correction in the settings on. Huawei and Honor will be the widest. We can see all these trees and this part of the stone. So we won't waste too much time on the ultrawide lenses, because we need a big improvement on all smartphones. All ultrawide models are using very small sensors right now, and we won't see that much of a difference in terms of pure image quality. On my previous videos, I told that X200 Pro has more well-defined ultrawide, but it was only one example, and in some situations, for example like this, I can say that I like ultras more well-defined textures and more wide field of view. Other than that, I won't stay too much here. I can see slightly more well-defined grass on X100 Ultra. Now let's quickly look at main sensors, textured color profiles on Vivo, vivid on Huawei, and vibrant on Honor. So what I can say? Looks like X200 Pro is a lot more aggressive than Ultra. We can see a lot more water painting effect with artificial stroke drawing. Everything is just too smooth, too artificial. Of course, Honor will be the worst here. We can see almost no details on the head, on the fabric, and on the skin. So on Pro, I can see that those eyebrows are completely drawn. I can see less details on the lips. Skin looks more plastic, and something is very weird with the eye here. Also, we can see almost no hints of this zip tie. We have less natural bokeh depth of field on the background, because sensor size is just smaller. And now let's see this natural on Vivo, original on Huawei, natural on Honor. 2x digital crop on main sensor. We're getting roughly 50mm field of view for photography. It is very nice for torso body shots. Can this smaller size sensor on X200 Pro fight against 1 inch on Vivo and Huawei? Look more careful, can you spot any difference? Because for my eye, difference is huge. I will say that I like Honor more on 2x digital crop than Vivo X200 Pro. Please pay attention to the overall image, texture of the skin. Look how plastic it looks, especially fabric on the head. How more well-defined image on X100 Ultra is. These small natural dots, stitches on this side. We almost lost all the eyelashes on the eye on X200 Pro, also on the lips. And pay attention to this zip tie. We lost all the details here. Here on Ultra and on Huawei we can see well-defined texture of this metal parts. But on Vivo and Honor everything is just smoothed out. Also please look at the natural depth of field, even at 2x digital crop on these 1 inch sensors. While on this smaller one, everything looks just too smartphony, too artificial, without much depth. So, I don't know how about you, but I feel like this main sensor is a huge downgrade if we compare it to Ultra. And to tell the truth, all smartphones with 1 inch sensor. We are even losing some grass textures. I'm not a big fan of this so-called new sensor on this mid-range flagship. Now let's see example of telephoto lenses. Vivo Ultra and Pro are using the same HP9, 85mm 1/1.4 inch size, 200 megapixels sensor. But even here we can see some downgrades. On the Pro model, optical construction is not the same, and focus distance is further away. Of course, it is only can be seen in the macro photography. We will have this section further down this video, but in situations like this, portraits, extreme zoom levels, behavior will be almost identical. Textured color profile, vivid on Huawei, vibrant on Honor. So, main sensor was very downgraded on X200 Pro, and I suggest you to switch to the telephoto for the faces. and portraits of people. It will be a lot better than shooting 2x digital crop with artificial plastic skin and deformed details of the face. By the way, one possible solution for main sensor on X200 Pro will be to switch to the RAW photography, super RAW computational, to be more precise. We will have dedicated RAW photography section in the end. I will show you how you can get better results. The last one, the same telephoto shots, but we are using natural colors. On Huawei it will be called original. So, despite having almost the same large sensor on telephoto, Honor feels like outsider. And image looks very similar on Ultra and Pro. You can play around with sharpness slider on both, give it more over-sharpened look, or more natural by bringing it down. So for portraits on Ultra you can use any lens you want. Main sensor, digital crop, telephoto, no problem. On X200 Pro I suggest to use telephoto lens. On Huawei you can use all lenses, just play around with color profiles. I like Vivid. And on Honor, to tell the truth, Honor is not the best smartphone for portraits. Now let's test selfie cameras. And I feel like we need more improvements in selfie camera department in the next years. Because right now, it is the same old story. Feels like on X200 Pro, we have slightly toned down sharpness compared to Ultra, but still, I don't get it. We have sharpness slider control on main lenses, telephoto, but nothing on selfie. I don't know why. Vivo, please just bring those slider on selfie camera. Right now we can't control contrast, saturation, sharpness, brightness. So, please tell me what you think. The only thing that I want to point out that we have one big problem on X200 Pro. Very huge downgrade and deal breaker for some people. And the problem is that X200 Pro have no autofocus on selfie camera. It can be a huge problem not only on photo but video as well. You cannot film yourself close enough or show objects in your frame. For example, on video, there will be no product showcase. For example, situations like this. You cannot take a photo of your eye on the X200 Pro just because it does not have any autofocus. It is the only so-called flagship smartphone among all these ones that does not have autofocus. And why I'm saying so-called flagship? Because I don't like how these corporations treat us. They invent these words and use them for neurolinguistic programming in their advertisement and marketing materials. But all these words mean nothing. They are just made up. And the word flagship means nothing for me. The only thing that matters for me is the final result. It is the only word that means anything in the end. Situations like this, when you want to show some objects in your frame, in your shot, you won't be able to do this on Pro. And for some reason, Huawei and Honor looks kinda noisy. And to tell the truth, now I respect selfie camera more on Ultra. Image looks kinda nice. But I will say it once again. Vivo, bring color profiles and correction sliders inside selfie camera. I want to see textured, size natural, sharpness slider, contrast slider. Why not? This is ridiculous. Please give us more physical controls. Image is very clean in terms of details and noise on Ultra. Pay attention, it kinda mushy and grainy on Huawei and Honor. And X200 Pro is not very nice in terms of selfie in this situation. Not to tell even about lack of autofocus. And now I want to see extreme HDR performance, with sunlight directly hitting the lens. Ultrawide, the widest will be Honor and Huawei, and the outsider will be X200 Pro. We see less in each corner. We don't see these columns here. In other words, a less field of view. Not a big fan of it. Something is slightly off with dynamic range on Huawei. If we compare Pro versus Ultra, I see slightly more defined textures on Ultra. But nothing criminal here. I feel like Huawei will be the outsider here. I see lack of colors, with lots of smudginess in the shadows, and also X200 Pro with its very narrow field of view. Not everything is alright on Honor also. But of course, my biggest disappointment is this field of view on X200 Pro. Main sensor, we can see some sunstars on Huawei and Honor because of the variable aperture. It is using f2 right now. Very interesting effect. On conventional cameras you need to close your aperture to get these stars. Maybe not very obvious, but I want you to pay attention to this part here. On X200 Pro it is just too smooth. We lost almost all these small details in these parts of this texture. That's why we see not very natural faces of people in portraits, because this new small sensor is not so powerful as old 1-inch on Ultra. Not a big fan of it. I hope I won't see it in the X200 Ultra. Otherwise, they need to do a lot more to convince me to switch from this one. Parts like this, so we can see that definitely Ultra is better. Image is just more well defined, even despite X200 Pro being more aggressive in terms of computation. For some reason, in very low light situation, or in scenarios like this with high dynamic range in the shadows, Huawei loses almost all color information. Image becomes grayscale, almost like black and white. Now let's quickly look at 2x digital crop on this main sensor. And not very surprising, but looks like Ultra has more advantage over X200 Pro. Only on Ultra I can see those robes, as well as lines on those windows. They are more well defined. Now telephoto lenses. I can see a very large loss of contrast on Huawei. Image is plus minus the same on both Vivos, because they're using the same telephoto lens. Not very surprising. On Huawei these light leaks affect all the frame. Honor does better job. So I feel like the biggest outsider will be Huawei. Now let's quickly look at the 10x, more extreme zoom levels. X200 Pro is using more aggressive computation. Also it has new AI telephoto settings that I'm not a big fan of. In the next examples I will show you why I want to turn it off. I like results on Ultra and in some cases Honor more than both on Pro and on Huawei. More extreme 20x zoom. And you can see how a lot more aggressive X200 Pro is. It uses these AI models that aggressively draws all these lines. For the most part, on X100 Ultra, those zooms levels looks more organic and optical, while on Pro we see very aggressive lines. In some situations, it can definitely work, but in some, don't. It can give you distorted lines that were straight in reality. Of course, we can zoom in a lot more, but right now I want to use telephoto lenses in different scenarios. The ability to capture very small details. In other words, macro photography. We will test it on this small flower. So we have some downgrades on Vivo X200 Pro, even on telephoto lens. On paper everything looks the same. 85mm Samsung's HP9, 200 megapixels, but 200 Pro version has different optical construction, and it cannot focus as close as 100 Ultra does. Difference is not very huge, but noticeable. Ultra can focus 5 cm closer to the object, and all this translates to Ultra being more comfortable in terms of macro photography. You can go closer, use less digital crops, with better stabilization, and overall better handling experience. And let's see 2 other smartphones. Huawei scores Alien Technology rating for its macro capabilities. You can go very close to your object, so if you want to capture very small object details, Huawei will be the best. But of course, the biggest trade-off will be a lot more shallow depth of field, so it can be advantage as well as disadvantage. If on Huawei we are using optical 3.5x, to match this field of view on other phones we need to crop in digitally. On Vivo we need to use 10-11x, on X200 Pro little bit more, 14-15x, and slightly more on Honor, somewhere around 17x. Also I want to mention that X200 Pro started to use very aggressive AI upscaling. It reminds me Xiaomi, Oppo Find X7 Ultra, on second telephoto lens. On all these shots, this new telephoto enhancement setting is turned on. I don't like it. I suggest you to turn it off. But maybe you like this look, so I just want to point it out. We can go even closer. On Huawei, we are using just 10x digital crop, And to match this field of view, we are using 30x on X100 Ultra, 40x on X200 Pro. We need to zoom in more to compensate this optical construction, and on Honor, somewhere around 45x. But we can see that computation is too aggressive and we lost all the textures. Image is just too smooth. Not a big fan of what X200 Pro does here with its new computation, and Vivo X100 Ultra and Huawei Pura 70 Ultra are my two favorite smartphones right now for macro photography. On Huawei, you can go a lot closer to your object, and on Vivo I like colors a lot more. On Huawei I like to shoot very small objects, and on Vivo something larger, for example eye. Here I try to take a photo of my own eye. As you can see, on Ultra we can go closer than on X200 Pro. The closest focus distance will be on Huawei, and the last place will be on Honor. But despite being able to focus very close on Huawei, I'm not a big fan of these colors, and texture of the skin looks very artificial. As you can see, on X200 Pro, we are not completely in focus. I needed to place a phone further away from my eye, and this is the biggest difference between X100 Ultra and X200 Pro. Ease of use and comfort of handling experience. On X100 Ultra, it is just easy, and easy to get better results. So, as you can see, despite being able to be closer to my eye and skin, Vivo X100 Ultra did a lot better job in terms of very natural details and texture of the skin. On Huawei, everything looks just too artificial, so not every time it will be the best, especially in these rough conditions inside the bathroom. To match this field of view, on X100 we need to use 10x digital crop, 15x on X200 Pro, somewhere the same on Honor. On Huawei I'm using 10x, but as we can see, phone struggled in these lighting conditions. And I feel like best natural results will be on Ultra. Texture of the skin is very natural, as well as the small veins, iris of the eye, eyelashes. But to tell the truth, there is no need to digitally crop. We could just use previous photo and crop in post. On X200 Pro, texture of the skin looks kinda artificial, like it is very dry, which is not the case in reality. In real life, it looked like this exactly. It was not an easy task to film my own eyes, so I took another shots. And of course, on Huawei, it will be the closest focus distance. We are using optical 3.5x, and we can be that close to the eye. On Ultra we can be closer than on X200 Pro. Looks like it is not completely in focus. I needed to be maybe 1 centimeter away, but it is what it is. Honor Magic 6 Ultimate. Nice colors. I love this image, to tell the truth. Also, I want to mention, something is slightly off with colors on X200 Pro. By the way, I'm using the latest firmware, so keep this in mind. For some reason, Ultra model has a lot more color separation, while on Pro, colors are more brown and dull, especially in complicated low-light shots. I don't know why, but it is what it is. Oh, I love these colors on this Honor. And for some reason, again, texture of the skin looks more natural on Ultra among all of them, even X200 Pro. To match the field of view of the Huawei, we need to go somewhere around 10 to 13x on Ultra, 14 to 16x on Pro, and around 20x on Honor. Of course, on Huawei we can go even close, but image starts to degrade a lot. So, to my eye, for some reason, image looks better on Ultra in the same situation than on Pro. Definitely there is something different in this lens construction. Maybe something has to do with focus point, but this is what I told you. There is a big difference in handling experience, ease of use, and as a result, final image. So for macro photography, I will still choose Ultra over X200 Pro, even though they have similar telephoto lens on paper. And this is not a single occasion. In every situation, results are the same. The same story, Ultra will be better. So I played around more with this Ultra and Huawei. As you can see, more shallow depth of field can be a disadvantage in situation like this. On Vivo Ultra, we can see a lot more textures because we are using more digital zoom, and depth of field won't be as shallow. But these two are my favorite smartphones for macro photography. Very nice results that can rival lots of mirrorless cameras with expensive lenses, and ease of use is just unmatched. It is so fun to play around with these two phones. Right now, you can see eyelashes on your screen. These small parts on these eyelashes is just black ink. They were almost invisible for naked eye. So cool. In some situations, Vivo Ultra can surpass Huawei because optical image stabilization was not as solid as on Vivo. Despite Vivo using a lot more digital crop, Huawei jumped around, was very shaky and not very steady. By the way, look how cool it looks. We can see how new eyelashes grow from the skin. Look at this part. It is so incredible and magical, to tell the truth. I cannot stop wondering how nice of a job did genetic bioengineers of the past with our flesh physical bodies. Everything is well thought through and works automatically without a need for our consciousness to intervene in this process. Perfect autonomous biorobots, vessels for our sleeping soul. And talking about the robots, I want to take a photo of the next miracle of genetic engineering. Small alien biorobots that was created in the past that we call mosquitoes on this planet. As you can see, it was very small, so we can test macro capabilities of these smartphones. Let's see how these smartphones work with these miracles of genetic engineers of the past. How can they take a photo of this small micro robot that we classify as insect? Of course, Huawei will be the best in terms of close focus distance. We are using this lens optically. On Vivo X100 Ultra will be better than X200 Pro. We can go closer to this micro biorobot, and looks like Honor is not completely in focus. A very nice performance from Huawei. I love this. To get the same field of view as on Huawei, we are using 10x digital crop on both of the Vivos, and in this situation Ultra will be closer, and X200 Pro slightly further away. This mosquito is smaller in the frame. Something weird is going on with Honor. A very solid performance on Huawei, but of course, the downside will be more shallow depth of field. Some details are just too blurred. Maybe using 50x digital crop is not the best idea in this situation, but on Huawei we can squeeze even more. We can see all these small hairs on its back. On Honor something went wrong. Everything is just very smudgy. No hairs on antennas and on the legs. So Huawei is very strong in this situation. We are using telephoto lenses for macro capabilities, and now let's test telephoto powers. Can we zoom in on distant objects? For some reason, I'm missing a couple of shots on the Huawei. Sorry about that. Right now we have pouring rains, so no way I can recreate this shot right now. It is what it is. Looks like Honor got a second breath. You know, by looking at different examples, now I can say that I like ultrawide lens on X100 Ultra more than on X200 Pro. And all that while being wider, we can fit more SIM in our frame and get better results in the process. Maybe if we go closer to our subject, we can get better results. Now I have Huawei shot, and we can immediately see some light leaks, loss of contrast. I think that I used textured color profile on Ultra and Vivid on Pro. Anyway, let's look a little bit closer. No, difference is not that drastic, but I can see that X200 Pro uses more aggressive computation. Image looks slightly more water painted. So I hope to see more ultrawide improvements in the future. A lot better sensors. I can see that image is slightly more defined on Ultra. Yes, difference is not that obvious. It is very vague, but still. All these small factors differentiate these two phones by its own tier. And overall, I feel like Ultra for photography is way above Pro version, even last year's model. Let's quickly see main sensor, 2x digital crop. Grandmaster Pura was outcasted to the distant jungle planet. Let's look closer. So, what I can tell, difference is huge for my eye. On X100 Ultra, everything looks very natural, optical, with true-to-life textures, while on X200 Pro, everything looks very artificial. Textures are very smudgy. With distortions in some areas, it looks more like water painting. In this regard, I prefer Honor's image more than on X200 Pro, which is very weird. Honor does not fight with grain, it keeps it everywhere, that's why image looks more organic. For example, this part, or these textures, please pay close attention. I can easily crop in this image and post it online on social media, while on X200 Pro, I don't feel comfortable to crop in any further. And this is the abyss between performance of these two smartphones. In terms of photography, image is just more well-defined. Not only small details that actually exist in reality, it is not just AI upscaling, with weird morphing and distortions, and of course textures. Look at this palm, add these metal lines, add this small text, it is readable, and everything is just more well-defined, while on Pro, it is very smudgy. Also, please pay attention to this part. I can see each individual unit, and on X200 Pro, it is just an abstract art. Everything is morphed and distorted. Also, text is unreadable. Also here, maybe it is not very clear, but I can understand that it says virtual reality, while on Pro and Honor, everything is just lost. And the performance is not just slightly worse. On X100 Ultra, I can easily crop any part of this photo, even 3 times, while on Pro, I just can't do this. Image starts to fall apart. So, image looks way more artificial. Unfortunately, I hope that we won't see this sensor on X200 Ultra. It is a huge downgrade. Now let's quickly check telephoto lenses. Huawei is still on the distant jungle planet, and for some reason I can see difference on telephoto also. We saw this difference on macro photography, and to tell the truth, difference was very noticeable, not only in terms of focus distance, because of more simple optical construction, but also something weird was going on with colors and textures. X100 Ultra was a lot more natural. For some reason, X200 Pro is just too aggressive on these telephoto shots. Very strong outlines on all the textures and details. It was not like this in reality. It was more toned down, like on Ultra. On X200 Pro, for my eye, it looks more artificial, while on X100 Ultra, more organic and natural, almost like optical. Not a big fan of this approach. Even on parts like this. On Ultra, I can see more small details. Image looks optical and more organic. Very weird. Even these flowers. On Ultra, shot looks like it was made on vintage lens, while on X200 Pro, looks like it was drawn by a robot. That's why I don't want to update to Origin OS 5 on X100 Ultra. I don't know, is it poor optical construction of this lens, or is it just too aggressive computation? Can we fix this with sharpness slider? I just don't know right now. Little bit more extreme 30x zoom, the same situation, but above 20x zoom levels. On X200 Pro we have new so-called telephoto enhancement, but I will say straight, I dislike this new feature. What it does, it makes your image more flat with weird AI upscaling. All these outlines look like they were drawn by pencil, and the whole image has this water painting effect. It reminds me of Oppo Find X7 Ultra's second telephoto lens. Also, it reminds me of Honor Magic 6 Ultimate. I dislike this approach. I like more organic image of the Ultra. Metal looks like metal. Stone looks like stone, not like weird paper outlines. If you like this effect, more powers to you. You can even use sharpness slider, crank it up, and you will get more of this effect. But I will stick to more organic look. I want AI to be a helping hand, to help preserve natural details and textures, but not to invent, distort and morph existing stuff. Another example, 10x digital crop, Grandmaster Pura is with us, and I want to show you that maybe in some situations like this, with lots of abstract forms, this new computation can be more pleasing for you. And at the first glance, looks like X200 Pro made better shot, more crisp and more defined, but I will show you some parts of the image where I will still choose Ultra. For example, parts like this. On Pro, Huawei and Honor, this natural form starts to deform, giving you abstract art, while on Ultra I can easily understand what it is, what it made of, that this is small plate antenna. It is completely impossible to understand on Pro, Huawei and Honor, but parts like leaves of this palm can give you an illusion of more crisp image. so it depends on you. These windows start to look like cardboard with water painting, when in reality, it is not. In some areas it can be nice, but in some, not so good. Lines like this can be very distorted. Metal parts does not look exactly like metal. I love that on Ultra we still getting some AI drawing, but details are very toned down, and image as a whole looks very optical and natural, without any weird distortions. Metal parts look very specular and shiny. So just pick your favorite. And this distant building, I can see all these wires, all these metal antennas, what they made of, what is their shape. While on Pro, these straight lines are not straight, all small details are kinda distorted, with weird outline on the whole building. Huawei and Honor are even worse, all details are completely lost. So please just pick your favorite. My favorite in this situation is Vivo x100 Ultra. Of course, with more zoom levels, we get some degradation of image, and the differences between computations becomes even more obvious. This is 20x digital crop on all the smartphones. On X200 Pro, we have an illusion of more detailed image, with more textures, more crisp and more well-defined outlines, but I'm not a big fan of this computation. In reality, it was not the same. Maybe you like it? Please use your own vision. Something very weird happened with those windows. Especially, I want you to pay attention to this foliage. Image became very weird. I can see this very weird web of white lines. If you pay close attention to this fairy, we can see the same patterns, the same white web. I'm really not a big fan of this new approach. And I will choose more soft image of Ultra any day of the week, the same way as I preferred 3x telephoto on Oppo versus second one, because first one was very soft but very natural, while second gave you very distorted image, with very fake AI morphing. So, I just commented my own observations, and you, my friends, just please use your own eyes and pick what you like. My pick here is Vivo x100 Ultra. I can buy any phone I want right now, and can easily switch it on something better, but unfortunately there is no phone right now that can make me switch from this Ultra. X200 Pro is just not that phone. For me, personally. I'm not insisting on anything. Just buy what you like. More 20x zoom levels. Without wasting too much time, let's dive in. So again, the same situation. X200 Pro gives you an illusion of more well-defined crisp image, but it was not like this in reality. Image is more soft on Ultra, but it is exactly how it was in reality. And I feel like this sculpture overall looks more specular. Like I can feel this texture. All three other phones are way too artificial. Pay attention to this part. On the bottom. You know, this is a reflection in the mirror. On X200 Pro, looks like water painting abstract art on the wall, but not like a reflection in the mirror. The same as on this part, with this tree, these windows and glass. Very organic image. This part, it really looks like foliage, reflection in the mirror. And this glass, same situation, not a big fan of it, but it can give you an illusion of more defined image. Let's quickly look at second example. This sculpture was in the shade, so in this particular situation I see nothing criminal. Maybe even better contrast levels on Pro model, but slight difference can be here and there. In this situation, new computation can give you something very usable. But let's see the difference with and without this new telephoto enhancement. So on the left we have X100 Ultra. Sharpness levels are at 0. In the middle we have telephoto enhancement on X200 Pro. And on the right, without these telephoto enhancements, this feature is turned off here. In reality, this line is made from metal and is very glossy. So if you like what you see here, you can use this new telephoto enhancement. But for me personally, I really hate this new feature. I will turn it off even without this feature. I want to turn down sharpness slider. Here how it will look like versus two other smartphones, Huawei and Honor, even without zooming in. Huawei is just too artificial. I feel like both Vivos looks way more natural than these two. And what about faces of real people? 10x digital crop. I turned off this AI enhancement on X200 Pro. Not a big fan of it. I'm using natural colors on all of them. I don't see that much of a difference between these two Vivos. Huawei actually not a bad job, very organic look, but something is very wrong with colors. And Honor is the most artificial here. And little bit more extreme 20x zoom. Maybe difference will be more noticeable in these conditions. And looks like quality on Huawei and Honor starts to drop. Let's test fast-moving subjects. All four of these phones are using shutter speed priority. In this mode, you will have very fast shutter speed, 1/8000, 1/16,000, and so on. None of these phones can shoot continuous RAW, so no burst mode, and burst JPEGs looks like trash, so I won't even touch it. Smartphones are not there yet. For that matter, you'd better use mirrorless camera if you want to shoot bursts in RAW for fast-moving subjects, sports, wildlife, and so on. Something is very off with colors on Huawei. So actually, only smartphone that was able to capture real texture of the head and boots is X100 Ultra. You can just play with exposure compensations, color profile, and you will get very solid nice results. Also on Vivo X100 Ultra, we had this small problem. Interpolation lines as a part of its computation. You can see this on this edge, looks like lines. Or here, on fingers, but it is not a huge problem. I bet most of you won't even notice it until I specifically show you. And on Pro, I can see that they addressed this issue. I don't see any interpolation. But we have another problem. Small sensor size with worse performance in terms of textures and details. We lost all these dots, but again I'm pixel peeping, nitpicking. Maybe it does not matter for you, but for me, it is. Especially this problem becomes more obvious with more crops. 2x digital zoom. We can see these interpolation lines on the arm on X100 Ultra, but I will take this any day of the week over this smudginess on face. I'm not a big fan of what X200 Pro makes with faces of people. This texture performance is night and day difference, an abyss between them, and no interpolation lines performance can fix this. And the last one, telephoto lens. In theory, it should be identical on both of Vivos, despite X200 Pro using more budget optical construction for the same sensor. Let's zoom in. So, very solid performance. I cannot spot huge difference. Of course, the worst performer here is Honor, and Huawei is not far ahead of it, to tell the truth. And I want to test portrait mode with face retouching, so-called beautifier. Maybe it can help X200 Pro to shorten the gap between Ultra. And actually, yeah, this mode during the day in some situations can help you. Honor is an outsider here. Image is just very bad. But not on the all parts. Look at these hairs. Still, X100 Ultra is miles better. And telephoto lens. In theory, they should be identical. Something is off with the highlights on Pro, but guess it can happen from time to time on all of them. On Honor we have lots of artifacts. On Huawei, huge loss of contrast. Like dirty film is stuck on the lens. And not a big difference between Ultra and Pro. Maybe because of slightly more aggressive computation we have some slight differences here and there between them, but very close. I like overall level of details on Pro, but to tell the truth, her skin was not that rough in reality. But I won't nitpick that much. Both of them look very nice, especially if we compare it versus Huawei and Honor. And now let's transition into the night. I want to test portrait mode, but now with artificial fake bokeh turned on. I'm using 2.8 on all of them, and I don't suggest to go above that. You will get a lot nice and cleaner results if you go f2.8 or even f4. And we can see huge limitation of this main sensor. We lost all the texture On the skin, all the details look way too artificial. The whole face looks very plastic. Also, we have some weird dots of different colors on the whole face. Almost no texture on the lips. We lost some eyelashes. Image looks very smartphone-y. Something is very wrong with white balance on Huawei, and I can even say that I prefer the face on Honor more than on X200 Pro. So weird. Before I show you results of other smartphones, I want to pay close attention on these two, X100 Ultra and X200 Pro into X digital crop. The abyss becomes even more obvious. One I can easily call the best photo flagship of this year, and maybe even next one. And another, nothing special. Look, the difference is night and day. It is not even close. I really don't understand people who leave comments on my videos that there is no difference, and that this so-called flagship camera phone is the best on the market right now. I really don't understand this. Image on the left looks like from mirrorless camera, and on the right, typical average smartphone. Nothing mind-blowing, nothing impressive. That's why I will still use Ultra. For me, it is a lot better smartphone overall, especially for photography. Look at the lips. Texture is so natural. Flash is very organic, with natural glossiness, with all small parts. While on X200 Pro, everything is just mushy mess. So please don't tell me that difference is not significant. It's like using two different smartphones. One is flagship, one is not so. And now let's compare against these two, Huawei and Honor. Also, I'm not using mirrorless camera in this video. In the past, we have used Sony's ZV-10 with Sigma 2.8 lens, large APS-C size sensor. You can look at these videos on the screen. If you are curious how real mirrorless camera will stand out against all modern flagships, Xiaomi 14 Ultra, Oppo Find X7 Ultra, Sony Xperia 1 Mark VI, Google Pixel 9 Pro XL, and even Samsung S24 Ultra. Of course, little bit of iPhone, and of course Vivo x100 Ultra, Huawei Pura 70 Ultra, and Honor Magic 6 Ultimate Edition. In all these videos, you can find examples versus real mirrorless camera with large sensor and expensive general zoom lens, with almost the same cost, $1,300 brand new. And in this video, we will just compare these four smartphones. Something went wrong with Huawei, something weird is going on with eyes. They are very distorted, but again, we can see that 1-inch sensor can give very nice textures of the skin, textures on the lips, and to tell the truth, I prefer image on Honor Magic 6 Ultimate Edition more than on X200 Pro from Vivo. Sorry Vivo fans, I'm just telling you what I feel. I really hope that Vivo won't use this sensor in X200 Ultra, otherwise it is instant skip. Look how Huawei invents details that are not exist in reality. X100 Ultra also uses AI, but all these small details and textures we can actually see in reality. That's why image is very natural and organic. Now telephoto lens. In theory, it should be identical on both Vivos. And actually, whoa, Honor looks kinda nice. I see no drastic difference between both telephoto lenses on both Vivos. Something is going on with eyes. On Huawei, I did not turn on face retouching, but it still uses some. So, X200 Pro users, if you want nice portraits, try to use second telephoto lens. Don't use 2x digital crop. It won't make you a favor. And now the same portrait mode, but I turned on face retouching, so-called beautifier. It should make face look more like anime. Of course, the best anime effect will be on Honor Magic 6 Ultimate Edition. But if we are talking about these two Vivos, this so-called new sensor is a huge limitation for this portrait mode. On X100 Ultra, you can use it without any restrictions in any situation. And on X200 Pro, I won't be very comfortable using this mode in almost any situation, even during the daylight. Huawei, something is wrong with white balance, colors are very weird, and Honor making its own magic. I'm very interested to see what will happen in 2x digital crop. So now face retouching on all of them. Maximum anime effect on Honor. It is very hard to beat X100 Ultra. With this sensor, next year's flagship will be no-go for me. Telephoto lenses, instantly Honor gets the best anime smartphone of the year award, and let's zoom in on others. Alright, something is very weird with colors on Huawei, but I think that you got the idea. Let's move further. Let's make small break and look at the selfie camera performance. Remember, X200 Pro is the only smartphone between them that does not have any autofocus. I really wish I could control sharpness levels on selfie camera on Ultra from Vivo. I don't get it. Why can't they just give us this? Looks like X200 Pro does not have any ability to stitch different photos together. On other smartphones, you can get better background performance. Something is weird going on with dynamic range on these three smartphones. Very aggressive computation on X200 Pro and Huawei. Let's see some Cityscape at night, ultrawide lenses, and I think that the loser will be Huawei. What is going on with these lens flares? Very distracting look. Look on X100 Ultra, field of view is a lot better than on Pro model. We can easily get the same look on Ultra by just cropping in a little bit, but there is no way you can go any wider than that, and the widest will be Honor and Huawei. But Huawei... alright. To tell the truth, I see more details on X100 Ultra. On my previous video, I told that ultrawide lens is better on X200 Pro, but looks like it was just one example, and the difference was just different focus point. And now with a lot more examples, I can tell that I like ultrawide more on X100. But not like by mile. I think that main sensor that X200 Pro is using for 23mm, it should rather be used for ultrawide, but not for main sensor. Main sensor, in 1X, we have slight loss of contrast on X200 Pro, but again on Huawei, same weird light leaks, lots of lens flares. Slightly more soft image on X200 Pro, but can we find drastic differences because of this? And we lost all the textures on these columns, and by the way, only X100 Ultra was able to capture them, as well as this ornament. It is a lot more well defined, with a lot better contrast levels than on these three smartphones. By the way, I'm using natural color profile on all of them, and on Vivo's it gives this yellow tint. However, in reality it was slightly more orange. If we compare these two against each other, I will say that Ultra is more true to life. And these columns also. Only on Ultra we can see the textures. The same main sensors, but now we are using 2x digital crop. The same loss of contrast on X200 Pro, we have some light leaks. A very inconsistent white balance on Huawei, but anyway, let's zoom in. And again, X200 Pro is not able to capture these textures on these columns, on this ornament, and other smartphones also. But want to point out Huawei, I like how this statue looks on this photo. It really looks like stone. Very natural result. Only Vivo was able to capture this grape. I like how foreground looks on Huawei. Very nice natural result, despite background being slightly more blurred. I feel like in situation like this, it was more important to capture the main object. Yeah, I feel like I will give this to Huawei. A lot more natural results of these sculptures that made from stone in the foreground. telephoto lens, look at the difference in colors, and let's zoom in. For the first glance, X200 Pro looks more crisp and more defined, but actually this is just a new computation, and look how it starts to look similar to Honor. In reality, it looked exactly like this on X100 Ultra. Not a big fan of this new computation, but maybe we'll like it, who knows. All these small dots, small lines, don't exist in reality. AI models just invented it. I am really not a big fan of it. I like what Ultra and Huawei did more in terms of colors. It is way too yellow on Pro. Maybe you will prefer these fake details all over the place, but I prefer Ultra, because this place looked exactly like this. Image becomes way too dirty, but it can trick your brain that image is better. But why everything is so yellow? More zoom levels, 10x digital crop. Even without more zooms I can see how aggressive Pro model is, and something is wrong with optical image stabilization on Huawei. Yeah, image is very soft on Huawei, not a big fan of this very dirty image on Pro model, and 100 Ultra holds very well. Another 10x example. Image is very distorted on 200 Pro model, the same as on Honor, maybe even more than on Honor. On Huawei it is very soft, and the best performance is on Ultra. I like results a lot more. More natural, more organic. Looks like it made from stone, but not like this distorted paper-like water painting. Even these columns, way more organic, way more natural than on Pro and on others. Look at this small flower. We can easily recognize its shape. More extreme 30x zoom. Similar situation in terms of white balance. For some reason it looks way too yellow on X200 Pro, and it tries to trick us with this computation. And I won't get caught inside this trickery. I still like Ultra more, because in reality there were no those textures, those dirty dots, lines. It looked exactly like this in reality. Next example, and situation will repeat itself, and my conclusions are the same. But in this particular scenario, difference is not that drastic. So here, everything works. I don't see any weird distortions. So in some situations it can work, in others won't. But for the most part, I will prefer Ultra. Another example, 10x digital crop. And I want you to pay close attention. Look how very organic and natural image on 100 Ultra is. Looks like it was made on vintage lens. Image has this optical quality, while on X200 Pro looks like robot drew it. Very harsh, very aggressive, tons of outlines, and distortions all over the place. Metal does not look like metal. I'm not a big fan of this image. On Huawei everything is just too soft, and actually on Honor it uses very interesting technique. I still can see AI drawing on some outlines, but it does not remove noise from image. It looks more like grain, film grain. That's why image is optical also. I really like it. A lot more than on Pro and Huawei, but my favorite one is Ultra. I like this film grain on Honor. So, very interesting observations. I guess it will be a surprise to lots of people. No one expected it to be that different. But reality is completely different. We can see tons of difference almost in all situations. During daylight, during night, macro photography, extreme zoom levels, portraits mode with fake facial retouching and reconstruction. Also, I wonder, will I get tons of comments how wrong I am about X200 Pro? Or maybe this time people will see what I was talking about in my previous videos. Here I tried to show you why I still consider X100 Ultra to be the best camera phone on the planet. Even here, I can see more information on Ultra and on Huawei. So I think that we need to slow down. Let's see a couple more examples. Extreme low light, astrophotography, and then we will have dedicated raw photography section. The last extreme zoom level example, 10x zoom. Not to be very biased, I want to show you example where a new computation of X200 Pro can be handy. On this construction site, maybe I can give this to Pro. By the way, Honor Magic 6 Ultimate, very nice results also. But even here I'm not a big fan of this very dirty image. Black outlines on all the edges. Now quick test very dim lighting conditions, extreme zoom level for text readability. In reality it was even darker than this, almost pitch black conditions. I want to see can we read this text. Let's start from 10x. Yes we can on Ultra, yes we can on Pro model. Not we cannot on Huawei, and it is possible on Honor also, no jumping. And more extreme 20x zoom. Well-defined text on both Vivos, we can read it on Honor, but it is slightly more distorted, and now we can on Huawei also. But as you can see, image is not as clean as on others. Huawei, you are an outsider here. Go away on your distant jungle planet, Grandmaster Pura. Now I want to talk about astrophotography. X200 Pro has this new landscape mode, abomination with everything stitched and thrown in one place, supermoon mode, night mode, astrophotography, and on and on. On Ultra I'm using just basic night mode, tripod button is turned on both. Huawei struggled with this ultrawide, and I have no ultrawide for Honor. I think that because I was not very impressed with Honor in terms of astrophotography. And what I want to say, that we see a lot more stars with ultrawide on Ultra. So everything is clear, X100 Ultra is better for ultrawide for astrophotography. Now let's test main sensor, and whoa! Even though I was using tripod mode on both of Vivos, 40 seconds exposure, on X100 Ultra I'm using dedicated astrophotography mode. And even without zooming in, I can see that there is a lot more stars on this main sensor, even in this very light polluted area inside city. Huawei just used 5 seconds exposure, but looks like it is more than enough. It uses some clever computation. And Honor, yes, it can give you some results, but I was not blown away by its performance. Just look at that. Beautiful stars on our celestial sphere, inside our hollow Earth. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, now I wonder what you are. And telephoto. Looks like all the smartphones can't utilize telephoto lens. It is just a crop from main sensor, which is a bummer. I want to see this HP9 200 megapixels performance. I was using a tripod. I think that it is possible. Vivo, do something about this. Looks like Honor was able to capture UFO. Truly magical smartphone. Also, I want to quickly mention extreme low light photography, extreme night mode, main sensor, Vivo Ultra, Vivo 200 Pro. For the first glance, looks like image on Pro is brighter, thus it should be better. But please pay close attention how noisy it is. 65,000 ISO levels on Ultra and 200,000 on Pro. I already showed you that on video this main sensor is very noisy, almost unusable at 6400 ISO, as well as 12,800, and looks like on photo as well. We can see lots of noise. Image is very dirty and very distorted. In some situation, we can see slightly more hints of the image on this painting, but look how it's just very dirty, tons of noise. Of course, this is extreme example, almost without any light in the room, but in this extreme night mode, you can get this very distorted, weird, dirty, noisy image. I am really not a big fan of this new sensor from Sony. It is small, it is very noisy, it is not a step forward. I think that it is 2 steps back. Unfortunately. Let's quickly see normal RAW behavior, main sensor. So pretty basic stuff, nothing impressive. I'm not a big fan of shooting just normal RAW on the Vivos when we have very nice Super RAW. It is a computational photography for RAW files, basically. Let's quickly look at X200 Pro performance in just this normal RAW. Now, see at Huawei, it does not have any computational RAW, just this normal one. And now let's quickly see Honor results. By the way, on Honor you can only use main sensor, no ultrawide, no telephoto to shoot in RAW. So let's quickly finish it up. First of all, let's compare Vivo X100 Ultra versus Pro. This is just normal RAW. Difference is not very huge. It is very vague, but when phone starts to stack multiple photos together, this small difference becomes very huge. But if you want to get better image on X200 Pro, I suggest you to use RAW or SRAW. You will get better results than computational JPEG, but you need to spend a lot more time in post. On telephoto you won't see that much difference. The difference here is just my editing. So nothing to comment here, everything plus minus the same. Let's see extreme low light, ultrawide lens. Without wasting too much time, I want to say that I see more noise patterns on X200 Pro. Maybe that's why we see some difference. Main sensor, it is really hard to tell. Difference is very vague. It is 3200 ISO levels, but image is slightly more defined on Ultra. That's why on computational JPEG, in the end we see big difference. I see more small lines on these parts, on these cars. X200 Pro is more dirty, more noisy. That's why we get this huge difference in the end, in the automatic mode. I'm more interested to see the difference between Super RAW, this is computational RAW from Vivo. I tried to eyeball it, made quick edits, that's why we can see some differences. So I guess this is the main reason why we see that huge difference. So definitely X100 Ultra is a lot better for RAW photography. In other words, if you want best smartphone for photography right now, it is definitely X100 Ultra, not X200 Pro. Another example, Super RAW. Don't look at the exposure, I just play it around. I can easily make them look identical. It is already 2 o'clock at night, I want to sleep badly. That's why I am in rush. Let's just look at the close details. So, definitely Ultra X100 is better, but still, it is a big improvement on X200 Pro over computational JPEGs. If you want to take better photos, you need to use this SRAW. You will get noticeably better results than on automatic mode. On X100 Ultra, you just have convenience to use basic automatic mode, and results will be very nice almost in all situations. While on X200 Pro, you have to work a little bit harder. Of course, telephoto will be almost identical. I don't think that we will find drastic differences. Yeah, everything almost the same. Just tweak sharpness slider here and there and you will get identical result. Another example, computational SRAW on both Vivos. Let's zoom in, and Ultra is better. Look at the eyebrows, eyelashes and lips, especially lips. We lost all the texture on X200 Pro. Also texture of the skin is better, but it is a big improvement over computational JPEG. So I guess you have to use SRAW if you want to enjoy photography on this smartphone. Telephoto lenses. the same result. I won't stay too much here, everything is crystal clear. Also, I want you to pay close attention here. It is X100 Ultra, this is 300 ISO, 600 ISO and 1000. At night, it is better to use high ISO levels. This ultrawide lens. Don't be afraid to raise those ISO levels. Image will improve a lot in this computational RAW photography. The same on X200 Pro. The higher ISO levels are, the better the final image will be. Main sensor X100 Ultra, and as you can see, the higher is ISO level, the better will be the result. The image starts to be clean at ISO 3200 and is very clean at ISO 6400 and higher. You can even use 12800. The same will be on X200 Pro. Image will be very clean, so 6400 and 12800, so no need to lower it. You won't get better noise performance. On the contrary, just raise it. Let's compare 6400 ISO levels on computational RAW on these both two Vivos. Can see a huge difference, but image is little bit more crisp on Ultra, so definitely use this as RAW. Image is slightly more defined on Ultra. Let's compare everything against each other right now. On both Vivos I will use computational as RAW. Huawei and Honor will be using just normal RAW because they don't have any computational RAW, and Honor does not have any lens except main, no ultrawide, no telephoto, so you are stuck only with using 1x, unfortunately, I don't know why. So, of course, winner will be X100 Ultra. Very natural results, without any artifacts, noise. Image looks like it was taken on a mirrorless or DSLR camera. Of course, the limitation of using just basic RAW will be extensive amount of noise and lack of dynamic range. Because remember, this is just a smartphone. Even 1-inch sensor is just too small. That's why computational Super RAW comes to save the day. Another example of main sensor. Don't be distracted with exposure. It is easily correctable. I just played around, eyeballed it. Let's better look at level of details. Immediately we can see dynamic range limitation, both on Huawei and Honor, because it is not a computational RAW. The winner of course will be X100 Ultra, but I love texture of the skin on Huawei, because again, this is 1-inch sensor. You just can't jump around the law of nature. The bigger the sensor, the cleaner will be the result. And of course we have lots of noise in the shadows on this Huawei and Honor, but you will get infinitely better results on X200 Pro, on Huawei, and on Honor if you use RAW photography. Unfortunately, there is no way to take RAW photo of telephoto lens on Honor, that's why we will only use Huawei. Image is kinda soft, but very usable. It is so much better than atrocious computations from these smartphones. So you can easily use these RAW files. And when the darkness comes, of course we will see more noise, but computational RAW can help with this situation. Again, Ultra is a winner, not even close, but you can definitely improve your photography on all these three smartphones. There will be no Honor, I guess you know why, no way to shoot telephoto lens on that smartphone in the RAW tab. We can see some noise on Huawei, but it is not a big problem, we can easily fight with it in photo editing software. Image is a lot better than on automatic photo mode. And the last example for today, 6400 ISO levels on all of them, computational RAW on Vivo, normal RAW on Huawei and Honor, and I will go to sleep. So I guess you see the clear advantage of using computational RAW. Image is a lot more clean. And of course, X100 Ultra is a winner here. So my friends, that's all. I guess no need to explain anything, no need to make any conclusions. You saw everything, and I think that Vivo X100 Ultra is without any doubt is a winner in today's video, and overall I declare it the best camera phone of 2024 and maybe even 2025. I tried and used every phone, Samsung S24 Ultra, Apple ecosystem, best flagships from Oppo, very powerful smartphone from Xiaomi, Leica Dragon 14 Ultra, Sony Xperia 1 Mark VI, Pixel 9 Pro XL, and these two smartphones from Huawei Corporation, Pura 70 Ultra, the number one on the DxO Mark, and Honor Magic 6 Ultimate Edition, truly magical smartphone. But for me, for my personal taste, for my use case, Vivo X100 Ultra is the best smartphone overall for general use and the best camera phone, period. For any scenario, landscape, portraits, macro photography, super zoom, nightography, raw photography, and even in video it is very powerful smartphone. So no way I'm gonna switch to X200 Pro. Right now I see no point of doing this. And other smartphones are very nice also, but unfortunately they do not fit my lifestyle, my work, and they does not provide me what I want. But again, I could easily use any of them and still get nice results. But I want results not to be only good, because it is 2025. I want to see big improvements, very noticeable large steps, because camera industry, smartphone industry were in big stagnation over multiple years, for 5 years. Such companies as Samsung, Sony, Apple have provided us with clone after the clone without any noticeable innovation. That's why I don't care about any marketing campaigns, false advertisements. Flagship in 2025 and 2026 is completely different from what companies want us to believe. That's why I want to see only innovations, only big improvements, big steps forward. I won't accept small incremental upgrades. So anyway, I will stop right now. I started to rant like an old grandpa. I need some sleep. So thank you, my friends, for watching. I will surely make final review for every smartphone that I used this year.
Vivo X100 Ultra. I'm in Pro video mode on main sensor, in Vivo lock. Not very quiet place, kinda noisy, lots of sea waves. I can shoot only on the main sensor, no ultrawide or telephoto for this alone. Vivo X200 Pro, the same Pro video mode. I am in lock, everything set on automatic. But we can actually switch to the ultrawide lens telephoto with the same lock settings. It is very noisy here. lots of waves. I will try to use noise isolation settings in the video editing software in the post. But of course, it is better to get external microphone, lavalier, shotgun. Huawei Pura 70 Ultra. To tell the truth, I don't want to include this phone into the video comparison because video quality not so great, to tell the at least. HDR performance is way too aggressive. My skin is always red, always weird. We have exposure jumping around. Everything is just oversaturated and over-sharpened. Now, Honor Magic 6 Ultimate Edition, and I'm using third-party application. This is not default camera app. I'm using Sony S-Log 3 in 10-bit with Panasonic V-Gamut colors. My favorite settings, everything is on automatic. I will color grade it in post using my own LUTs. By the way, they are free for download. I try to make them usable for multiple devices, multiple phones of different brands. So results may vary, but it is nice starting point. You can use different LUTs, color grade footage in different styles, different moods. So this is very powerful tool, and it can potentially replace you small cameras for vlogging. Vivo x200 Ultra, ultrawide lens, I'm in Pro Video app, everything set on automatic. Vivo x200 Pro. I am in Pro video mode, ultra wide lens, but I can use log even on ultra wide, and telephoto also, which is a huge plus. So, can you see any huge difference? Can you catch any light leaks? Pura 70 Ultra, number one on the DxOMark ratings. China #1. But unfortunately, I don't like this phone for video. Sorry, Huawei fans. Not interested at all. Image is just not that great, not that good, and not even need to tell the truth. Honor Magic 6 Ultimate Edition, ultrawide lens, and I'm using third-party application. I'm using Sony S-Log3, the same Panasonic colors. I will grade everything in post. And I love this smartphone for the ability to use these third-party apps. Camera API is fully open. We can have 10-bit, we can have 32-bit float audio, we can have good stabilization, and everything just works. I love this. Everything is smooth, image looks nice. And I love every lens on this smartphone in this app. Ultrawide, main sensor, and selfie also. Vivo X100 Ultra, selfie camera, no HDR. Just as it is. I don't like to be a sausage slice with my face when I turn on HDR. So, how it is compared to other smartphones?
Не всегда он делает сразу после погрузки, потому что если какие-то в порту задержки, проблемы с машиной, там ближайший вид, он не делает, он ждет.
Vivo X200 Pro, selfie camera, so I want to see only improvements from now and on. Honor Magic 6 Ultimate Edition, third-party application, godlike stabilization, colors, dynamic range. This is selfie camera. I will use third-party app because why not? It gives the best performance. Vivo X100 Ultra, selfie camera, HDR is turned off. I'm not a big fan of the HDR on this smartphone. But it is not worst smartphone in terms of video. I saw a lot
A lot worse. iPhone, I'm looking at you. Also Google Pixel. Vivo x200 Pro. Selfie camera. Huawei. Now I'm using selfie camera. It does not have color profiles. Image is kinda too aggressive in terms of HDR. Honor Magic 6 Ultimate Edition selfie camera. Can Honor show us some magic? But to tell the truth, Honor has one of the best third-party app support. That's why I see no point of using default camera app. I will show you right now. I'm using Sony S-Log3 in 10-bit with Panasonic V-Gamut colors. Stabilization is very good. This is selfie camera. And exposure is not jumping around like crazy. I want to see this performance in all modern smartphones, built in the default camera app with the same image quality, colors, dynamic range and stabilization. I think that Honor Magic 6 Ultimate Edition is one of the best, if not the best smartphone in terms of video quality. Of course, if you are using third-party application with lock, with 10-bit, with nice colors. But you can use default Rec 709 and you don't have to color grade it. It will be very good straight out of the box. Maybe not so pleasing as lock, but still very good. A lot better than stock camera inside these smartphones. Now I'm filming on Huawei Pura 70 Ultra, main sensor and vivid colors. You can switch between 3 color profiles the same way as on photo, and I like vivid more on the photo side. But what is the difference on video? Can we see any difference between original and bright? What image is the best? What do you think, my friends? Not a big fan of Huawei, to tell the truth. Vivo x100 Ultra. I'm filming in Pro Video mode, everything set on automatic. Can we see any difference between X200 Pro when it is using default camera app with built-in lock? And can we see any difference between S-Log 3 on third-party application? I'm using Panasonic Vigamut colors, 10-bit, but stabilization is worse because it does not have digital, only optical. And now Huawei Pura 70 Ultra. Main sensor, I'm filming in vivid color profile. Can it make any difference over other color profiles? On my previous video I used original, but to tell the truth, I am not a big fan of the Huawei phones for video. Image is very over-sharpened, over-saturated. Something weird is going on with exposure. Third-party app support is very limited. So I'm not a big fan. So I'm using log profile. What is going on? These cities are just insane. So much noise from everywhere. But I am filming in the log on Vivo X100 Ultra. I'm using Pro video mode, X200 Pro, default, and on Honor Magic 6 Ultimate Edition I'm using third-party application. What is the stabilization and the audio? I feel like we won't test audio in these conditions. We need another test for this. And now let me do this log style. I won't include Huawei in this test because Huawei does not have any support for third-party application. It does not have any log, and the image is just too overprocessed. Not so pleasant. I'm more interested to see the differences between these three devices, Honor and Vivo. So what do you think, my friends?
Are there any drastic difference? I hope I did not mess with white balance. On Honor, let me check it. Yeah, I feel like I messed it up. Sorry about that. So let me know, does any of this log footage looks usable, and what is better? I think this is 3 best devices for video right now. Of course there is Oppo Find X7 Ultra, maybe X8 Ultra already. Some people swear on iPhone. I'm not one of them. After testing 13 Pro, I didn't like it at all. Not in terms of stabilization, no, not in terms of video quality, colors, and audio also. Those microphones. Oh, whoa. I'm filming in lock on X200 Pro because it has lock on the 60 frames per second. X100 Ultra lacks it. And on Honor I can use 60 frames per second on third-party application, but here how it will look in the default camera app, which I don't like. Image is not so far from Huawei, very over-processed, over-sharpened. Here how it looks from the side. So 4K 60 frames per second. Let's quickly test audio. Huawei Pura 70 Ultra. What is the audio quality of these microphones? Vivo X200 Pro. What is the quality of the onboard microphones? Let me check. Yes, no noise reduction on both Vivos. So now X100 Ultra. What is the audio quality? I'm speaking directly into these phones, and Honor Magic 6 Ultimate Edition. So I need to stop this test in this location and go somewhere else. Of course, not everyone will shoot in lock, not everyone will shoot in 60 frames per second. We have some wind here. Also, let me check. Telephoto lenses. What if we walk slowly? Sorry, on Huawei it is slightly more jerky. I will hold it strongly. All right. And now see ultra-wide performance. For some reason we see lack of dynamic range on X200 Pro and Honor. It is what it is. So now ultra wide lens for this vlog style conditions. I'm not a big fan of downgrade on X200 Pro. We only have 15mm. And with stabilization applied, it is even smaller and tighter. Now let's quickly test stabilization, ultra wide lens and dynamic range at the same time. And now main sensor. Also, please notice on X200 Pro we have this lens flare, but it is what it is. And now Vivo x100 Ultra selfie camera at night. No HDR, no need to do this during the night and also during the day. HDR on X100 Ultra on selfie camera, not so good. Vivo x200 Pro front facing camera. Is there any drastic difference over other smartphones, over Ultra model? Huawei Pura 70 Ultra selfie camera at night. To tell the truth, I even wanted to exclude this phone from this video comparison. We did a lot in the previous Star Phones episode 2, Android Strikes Back, because this phone is nothing special, nothing mind-blowing in terms of video, and to tell the truth, looks kinda bad. We can go wider, like a lot wider. But stabilization will be a lot worse. Honor Magic 6 Ultimate Edition. I'm using third-party application because I am not impressed by the default camera app, and everything works and supports with this application, so why not to use the best? I'm filming in Sony S-Log3 as always. This is my go-to settings. I'm using Sony S-Log3 and I'm using Panasonic V-Gamut colors, and of course I'm trying to use... Why so loud? Oh, these cities. I'm trying to use 10-bit and 32-bit float audio if possible. So what do you think, my friends? Is the image quality acceptable? Of course I will apply slight level of noise reduction, nothing criminal. I will try to make image look as good as possible. Vivo x100 Ultra, night mode for video. On X200 Pro, it looks like that night video mode is built in to the default camera app, while on Ultra you have to press moon button, but only main sensor will work. Here is log video on Vivo x200 Pro. We will test 60 frames per second also. Right now it is 30. Of course, smartphone video is nice, but I still prefer to use something dedicated. For example, DJI Osmo Pocket 3. Also here how it will look like in vlogging style scenario, filming yourself. Again, this is a log. So, what you see? Noise reduction for audio is turned off. No way I'm using it outside. Sound is just becomes too muffled. Quickly, main sensor. Everything is acid, over sharpened, and very dark, with the noise at the same time. So, this is Huawei. It is what it is. I'm not impressed, Huawei. Honor Magic 6 Ultimate Edition, third-party application, main sensor. I'm using very low shutter speed, 1/37. I will try to walk accurately. ISO is 600. We have these sun stars because of variable aperture. So image looks nice on the screen. Of course, we will see everything on the computer screen. So, my friends, how it looks in this vlogging style scenario. I won't go further. There is some music. YouTube will send me demonetization, as on my previous videos. I had to remake it. And ultra-wide lens, Vivo x100 Ultra. Here is the example. Here how ultra-wide lens will look like in vlog style conditions. Here is how ultra-wide lens will look like. This is also log. And vlogging style scenario. Ultrawide lens usually is the weakest link on all smartphones, but is it actually doable? Can you use ultrawide lens at night? And now ultrawide. So of course image became darker. But can we use it? And for vlogging style, that's a shame that these smartphones are able to do this level of image with log, with 10-bit, with good stabilization, but not in the default camera applications. This is so stupid. So here is just ultra-wide lenses without any log, 30 frames per second, just default camera app. We will check 60 frames per second after that, so you can quickly get an idea. With stabilization, I'm walking a little bit faster right now. So let's see main sensors. 1, 1, 1. So again, I'm walking slower. And now faster. And now telephoto lenses. So 30 frames per second in low light, and let's now quickly switch to the 60 frames per second. Maybe there is a big difference, and we will check log. I want to see how these three smartphones, not you, Huawei, will stack against each other in terms of low light look videography. Now we are filming. Oh my universe! Stop this noise. We are in 60 frames per second. Ultrawide lens. Just stock default camera app. And let's switch to the main sensors. And now let's walk slowly. Now I walk very fast, not accurate at all. Hard to tell right now on the screens. Also, let's switch to the telephoto lenses. So my friends, it is 60 frames per second. I'm walking away from the copyright strike. From a couple of centuries ago. So please tell me what you think. And now I will test log performance. So this is third-party application on Honor, Pro video mode on X100 Ultra, and automatic log in the X200 Pro. ISO 1600 on Honor, 3200 on Ultra, and on automatic video mode on X200 Pro I can't see any numbers, everything is just on automatic. So my friends, please tell me what do you like the most? Of course, it is hard to tell anything because I can't see the screen. I tweak parameters almost blindly, and I will see results only on the computer screen. Maybe I messed something up, but I feel like not. So I don't even know if I am in the frame. Let me do this. I feel like it will be better. And maybe I will press automatic parameters. Everything automatic on Honor. Automatic ISO on Ultra. What happened on Vivo x200 Pro? Everything is automatic from the start. So I will cut off recording because I don't want this video to be more than 6 hours. I feel like we already have lots of examples to get an idea what these phones can do and what they can't. I hope from this you can choose what you like and buy the phone that you enjoyed the most.
In a world of sounds and melodies, where music surrounding us, we have lost all the memories, forgetting the time. Infinity beckons and calls us for secrets of sleeping soul, the sound of hearts beating intact. Can you hear me? We are eternal beings. Playing a cruel game, watching new lives all over again. Can you hear it? Can you feel it? It's whispers. Of time. Filling the void of existence. Will we ever meet again? whispers.
And our episode ends here, but the story continues. Darth Ultros stepped on the side of his son, Vivo. Together they managed to overthrow the Emperor, known in the past as Senator Googlius, and his evil plan to rule the galaxy and the ExoMark ratings. But time is not standing still. We can only imagine what adventures awaits us. See you in the next couple of years.